Welcome to Davey's Take. Today we are talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, the film adaptation from the popular horror video game. A troubled security guard begins working at Freddy's Fazbear's Pizza. During his first night on the job, he realizes that the night shift won't be so easy to get through. Full disclosure, I've never played the video game, and this might piss some people off, but I honestly thought Five Nights at Freddy's was a popular short film, a fan film that got a cult following. I found out this was a video game about a month ago. And honestly, it blew my mind. The reason it blows my mind is because it's gained such a cult following that pretty much everyone knows what Five Nights at Freddy's is, or at least has an idea of it. Or people like me who didn't know it was a game but knows the premise of Five Nights at Freddy's. If you don't know the premise of Five Nights at Freddy's, I won't spoil anything, but imagine a Chuck E. Cheese, an abandoned Chuck E. Cheese, and all the animatronics come to life, and they try to kill you. You gotta love the simplicity. Since I didn't play the game, there were probably a bunch of references and Easter eggs that went completely over my head. And I'm giving you that warning now because I'm reviewing this film as someone who's never played the game. So how was Five Nights at Freddy's? I thought it was just fine. It's not great. It's not terrible that I think a lot of critics are gonna say. It's just, eh. And I think that's really gonna disappoint people who are die-hard fans of this game. But for someone who's never played the game and watched it as a movie, it's just eh. The first thing I gotta say about this film, and the best part about the film, is the animatronics. I read that they didn't use really any CGI for the animatronics. They used Jim Henson's company. They wanted to make it real, and the animatronics here actually look great. But I gotta give the film credit because they could have taken the easier CGI route, but no, they really went all in on the animatronics, and I think it really works for the film. It's probably the best part about the film. I also like the main character here. There's a real attempt for some development, some character growth, and you really understand where he's at. You understand why he has to take this sketchy ass job. And there's one sequence in the film that's actually a lot of fun where these animatronics are just picking people off one by one, and it's honestly what you want to see in a film like this. Speaking of that sequence, there's something I want to bring up about the film. It's the rating. It's PG-13. I'm really torn about this PG-13 rating. Part of me thinks it works because this film really isn't scary, and it could work for like a gateway horror film, and more kids could see this film and honestly probably be fine. But also part of me feels like if this was rated R and had some real gore, that one sequence would have been probably way better, and there would have been a little bit more suspense, and this movie probably would have been overall more fun. Because there's really not much gore in this film, and part of me thinks it does work for the film because it isn't trying to be super scary or super serious. But there's a part of me that probably wanted to see more carnage. Probably would have made the film a lot more fun. And that goes into my biggest issue with the film. It's not very fun. A film about animatronics that come to life and they're trying to kill you should be a lot more fun than it is. It really slows down in the middle of the film. And I think the reason is because they really try to focus on the story around our main character and the characters in this film. And like I said before, there are things I like they did with the main character, but the overall story is just really not that interesting. They're trying to make a real plot for this video game adaptation. And I'm sure there's stuff that is actually true to the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. So I'm pretty sure there's like 5 games at this point. Like they always cut to this dream sequence that isn't really that interesting, but then they keep cutting back to it and keep repeating it, and honestly gets kind of annoying. They also cut to a subplot that has to do with custody battle that had a reason to be in the film for the first third of the film, but then after that, there's really no reason for it to be in the film. So honestly, both those things just kind of beef up the runtime, which, by the way too long. Your horror movie about killer animatronics does not need to be nearly 2 hours long. I feel like if you cut those things up at the same time, keep our main character on this journey that he's on, while also including some more sequences where people are getting picked off one by one, this film would have been a lot more fun. Unfortunately, I feel like it just focuses on the wrong things. But I will say, if that's all in the game, I apologize. I take all that back. But for someone who's never played the game and just watching this as a movie, all those things make the film feel kind of boring. The plot feels predictable. There's some reveals that you can see coming a mile away. I already can tell that critics are going to hate this film. It's going to get really bad reviews. And I'm here to say I didn't hate it. I don't think it deserves those terrible reviews. But I will say I was disappointed because there was a lot of hype around this film because people really do love Five Nights at Freddy's. I do like the lighter tone this film has because it's not taking itself too serious. But at the same time, this film does feel like it is playing it a little safe. But the animatronics do look great here, and there are a couple sequences that are pretty fun, and that's why you'd see a film like this. But as a video game adaptation, I honestly can't tell you if it's true to the game or if it's even a good adaptation. But as a film, I thought it was kind of disappointing, and one that you could probably just watch on Peacock. I'm going to give Five Nights at Freddy's 4.5 Davey Daves. I'm surprised that this is going straight to Peacock and also in theaters. I feel like this film does have a following, and even if you don't know about Five Nights at Freddy's, just the concept alone could get people to go see this in theaters. So I'm surprised that this is going straight to Peacock. So, Five Nights at Freddy's. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear, and thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey Day's Takes.